everybody. My name is Mrs. Lee. I am the teacher of North School's Key program. I am so happy to see everybody here on this rainy evening. I'm glad everybody's projects got in safe and sound, as well as my Greek goddess and goddesses, and other assorted characters and creatures. I hope you enjoy our evening. We have been working on our Greek mythology projects all year long, from teamwork activities to our knowledge battle. It's been a really fun-filled year so far. So this is our culminating activity. I hope you enjoy the evening. And I'm going to hand it off to them. In charge.
Hi, I am Nathan, and this is Katya. Welcome to our Greek mythology night.
Gathered on our stage today are famous characters from Greek mythology. This evening you'll hear from gods, goddesses, heroes, and mortals from many Greek myths.
Our Greek characters have been getting ready for this evening for quite some time. They have prepared bio riddles and made many interesting projects. You will be able to play a guessing game while we present, so listen carefully to the clues and try to match us to our characters.
Before we begin, please take a moment to silence your phones, as we do not want to expect the gods and goddesses with unexpected interruptions. Thank you. Now please sit back, relax, and enjoy our presentations. When the world was created, my grandfather Gaia had children with my grandfather Uranus. She gave birth to my father Kronos, who married Rhea. Right after I was born, I was swallowed by my father. All of my other siblings, Hestia, Hera, Demeter, and Hades, were swallowed, all except Zeus. He wasn't swallowed. When he grew up, he saved us and we defeated Kronos and all the other titans, his siblings. Then Zeus became the king of the gods, the Olympians. After that happened, I married a sea named Amphitrite. Also, I have a son, Triton. I live in the water palace that is truly wonderful. I have teams of hippocampi, half-horse, fish creatures who drive my chariot. My weapon is a trident, made from the forges of the Cyclopes, people-like things with one eye. One of my most embarrassing moments is when I fell for a beautiful maiden, Greece for Athena. Medusa was the daughter of Keto and Phorkys, two of Gaia's many children. Gross, I guess you could call it that. She was gorgeous. Anyway, I was with her in one of Athena's many temples, and that cursed Athena turned her into a woman with snakes for hair that could turn people to stone. Who am I?
I am the goddess of the hunt, also an Apollo's twin and sometimes identified with the goddess of the moon, Selene. Zeus and Leto are my mother and father. Hera did not want Apollo and I to be born, so she forbade Leto to have twins anywhere on land. Then Poseidon took pity on Zeus, so he revealed a small part of an island, Delos. Leto ended up having Apollo and I there on Delos. When I was younger, I wanted arrows like Apollo, not the big arrows like my twin, but just small silver ones. So I asked Zeus for some. My wish got granted, and I now owned silver arrows. It was like they were magical. With one hit, I was able to cause women and animals death. Growing up and still now, I always carry a bow and a quiver of arrows. In addition to that, I always have my deer at my side. I turned my friend Calisteo into a bear and then killed it. Even though I don't praise people, I was friends with Orion. But that didn't last. Orion got too friendly, so I killed him. I am also like my brother Apollo. I can heal people or make them sick. I protect all of the young creatures. I never wanted the love of any man, never married, or really praised children. Even though I didn't marry, I still had 12 children. Who am I?
James.
This battle riddle is about an immortal beast. This beast will complete one life cycle, then bring itself back to life. I lived 500 years, then through a fiery process, I die and become reborn. When the nest burns, I go with it. I sing a beautiful song before the nest burns. Through the fire, a worm is created which develops into the new beast. This new beast collects the ashes and puts them in a new egg. This egg is made of milk. The egg is carried to a temple in Egypt. This notion of rebirth helps people understand life and death. Hatching one of my eggs resembles Jesus being born on Easter. I am thought to be wise because of how old I can grow. Kings and common people believe that I have great wisdom gathered throughout my many years of life. One feather from my tail can light a whole room. If someone captures me, I bring doom to them. I give hope to needy people. There are 4 types of me. They are Russian, Greek, Chinese, and Sumer from Persian mythology. I am considered keeper of the fire. In the morning I sing a beautiful song to the sun god. There may only be one species living at the same time. This makes me very lonely. My wounds make the sound of thunder and can heal any wound with one touch. Who am I?
I am the god of light and truth. I killed the serpent with just a bow and arrows. I am the lord of Delphi and the son of Zeus. One day Cupid shot me with a love arrow and I instantly fell in love with Daphne. However, Cupid shot Daphne with an arrow with a blunt tip and filled with lead. That means Daphne would run away from any professing love. I told Daphne hello and she bolted into the woods like a deer. I chased after her and I was tired of yelling stop. I picked up speed and easily caught up to her. But very shortly after that, she stopped and turned into a tree. I started crying and pressed my hands on her bark. Since she can't be my wife, she'll be my sacred tree. I use her wood for my harp and arrows. I'll weave her branches into a wreath for my head. Heroes and scholars will be crowned with her leaves. She'll always be young and green. My first love, who am I?
Logan. I am the god of blacksmith and fire. I am the son of Zeus and Hera. My royal name is Vulcan. My brothers and sisters are Ares, and Eleuthyia. I created my only daughter Pandora under the instructions of Zeus. My sons are Hera, Amo, and Tongs. I was married to Aphrodite by Zeus to stop a war from happening, even though she was untrustworthy. I once built a shop that caught Aphrodite with Ares, which trapped them both together. I built several houses, weapons, and furniture. My workshop was built near a volcano, and my inventions often cause the volcano to erupt. I also made multiple thrones, jewels, and chariots. I built my assistants out of gold, and their job is to help me in the workshop. I have built many items for gods, such as the arrows of Eros, the shield of Athena, and the shield of Athena. I also crafted the armor Achilles wore in the Trojan War. I have trouble walking, so I built myself 2 robots to help me support myself. They had no hands and could even speak. They also worked in my workshop. I also made multiple jewels, thrones, and chariots. Who am I? As a favorite daughter of Zeus. I came to Mount Olympus from Zeus's head as a grown goddess. I invented many objects such as the moon, olives, and boats. Olives came most in handy when I wanted a city which is now Athens. I was completely sent to Poseidon for the city which was presented gifts. Poseidon had offered a water bowl to the city, but it was as salty as the sea world. I presented an olive tree to the city and was proved useful. I won the city. There was a pupil of mine who was in love with a beautiful weaver. Her name was Arshini. She decided one day she was the best and could not be compared to the gods. I went to the earth disguised as an old woman and told her I had been through great experience to have learned never to challenge the gods. I actually became furious and dared one of the greatest goddesses to compete in a reading contest. I transformed into normal form and agreed. Which is better. I was given a picture of the contest was decided, but I actually made a picture of the gods' weaknesses. I became furious and transformed into what we call a spider. I held a contest, the fairest of the moral contest. Aphrodite had promised the judge Paris a beautiful wife, and she gave him Helen. Only failing to mention that Helen was married. Let's start with Troy and Sparta. Odysseus had told the best carpenters to piece together a horse with a room inside. He instructed men to get inside. Then Odysseus himself went inside. They locked themselves inside and made it out for daylight. The gate guards took it in as a gift, and Trojan men jumped out. I am a lord. Who am I? Colleen.
I was a young woodman. I had many friends and loved to chat. Zeus, the king of the gods, often came down from Mount Olympus and flowed with some nymphs. Sometimes as I came down looking for him. When Hera was searching, I sidetracked the goal for my title until Zeus and the other nymphs were safe. When Hera found out my little secret, she was furious. She cursed me so I could only repeat the last words of others. I couldn't even laugh or scream. I hadn't loved any man until one day when I met a handsome hunter named Narcissus. I followed him around waiting for my chance. One day he went to get a drink from the pond. Suddenly he started talking and begging something, hopefully me, to come to him. I repeated his words, but he didn't notice me. That's when I noticed that he was talking to his own reflection, my hot shadow. He didn't leave that spot until he finally died next to that pond. A white flower grew in his death spot, still looking in the pond. I grieved for a while, not eating or drinking until I finally died. All that's left of me is my voice, which you can hear in a cave. You will hear my voice after yours. Who am I?
Nathan.
I am one of the sons of Zeus and Hera. My own mother tried to kill me with 2 venomous serpents when I was an infant, but I squeezed the life out of her. I married Megara and I had 3 kids. My mother Hera got me mad and I killed my wife and kids. Then I was sent to make up for what I did, and I had to serve the king. He made me do these 12 labors: kill the Nemean lion, slay the 9-headed hydra, capture the stag with golden antlers, capture the wild boar, clean the Argian stables, get rid of the Stymphalian birds, capture the great bull of Crete, bring the man-eating horses back to the king, steal the Amazon queen's belt, bring back the cattle of the ogre, steal 3 golden apples from the golden dragon, and kidnap the guard dog of Hades. I am known for my outrageous strength and skill. Who am I?
True. I am the god of nature. My mom Penelope abandoned me when I was born because I was so ugly. I had goat legs, pointed ears, and a pair of horns. But my dad Hermes was amused and showed me to the gods on Mount Olympus. Zeus and the other gods didn't like me, so they banned me to the woods. I protected hunters, shepherds, and sheep, and other animals in the wilderness. When I was angry at night, I went to a cave. If anybody came, I would scare them away with my voice because it sounded like I was angry all the time. But when I was happy, I played my lute. I fell in love with a nymph called Syrinx. But when I tried to talk to her, she got scared and turned into a reed. So I took the reeds that I could find and turned them into my lute, so I would have her forever. Nymphs would follow me and dance when I played my lute. Who am I? Haley. I was originally the goddess of childbirth, fertility, and light, as well as the goddess of death, the moon, and the underworld. My purpose has changed some, and I remain the goddess of death, the moon, the underworld, sorcery, and witches. I am said to have 3 bodies, hold twin torches, and have hair made of serpents, just like Medusa. However, I do not turn people to stone, but I do turn my enemies into furry animal familiars. Turning them into my familiars makes them more useful to me as they become my friend. By the way, a familiar is an animal companion. Speaking of animals, Cerberus was once my 3-headed demon dog before Hades took him as his own. Much really are man's best friend, I guess, even if they are the guard dogs to the underworld. Anyways, more about me. Did you know I helped Demeter in her search for her daughter Persephone? After the river Styx took her down, I helped her get to Persephone by getting to Hades' cave. So, without final detail, who am I? Olivia.
I am the goddess of the hearth. My first memory was of darkness with my siblings, Zeus, Hades, Poseidon, Hera, and Demeter. I am the oldest daughter of Cronus and Rhea. When I grew older, I turned down Poseidon and Apollo's proposal because I wanted to remain a maiden forever. I gave up my throne for another fellow Olympian, Dionysus, so I could tend to the fire. A few cities honored me by lighting a torch in their village. Who am I?
Ellie isn't here, so we'll have Dylan.
Have you ever seen me riding around in a chariot drawn by peacocks? I am the queen of Mount Olympus and the goddess of marriage and childbirth. My parents are Rita and Congress. I was born on an island called Samos. I am married to Zeus, which can be a challenge. It started one afternoon. I heard pecking at my windowsill. I opened the shutters and in came a cuckoo. My eyes began to fill up with tears when I saw how cold and poor the little bird was. I held him in my arms all afternoon long until it was time for me to get some rest. I put the little cuckoo on my nightstand. Suddenly Zeus appeared. He decided he wanted to get married. One time he dangled me from a giant cliff just by my wrist. When we first got married, I got many gifts such as golden apples from Gaia. In my orchard I planted a sleepless 100-eyed dragon as my guard. I chose peacocks as my symbols because I am always watching. My Roman name is John, and my son is Aries. Who am I?
Dylan.
I trained many mighty heroes of Greek mythology, including Jason, Achilles, Hercules, Theseus, and Perseus. I am the half-brother to Zeus, therefore I am related to all the gods. I am a wise, kind, and knowledgeable centaur, unlike all of the other centaurs. Even though I am a centaur, I'm not related to any other centaurs, because my dad is Cronus, the Titan King. Therefore, all my family members are immortal, including me. My niece and nephew, Apollo and Artemis, taught me medicine and science. I pass this knowledge on to my students and also the gods. I trained Theseus, Apollo's son, in the arts of healing. I trained Jason in family sports, and I trained Achilles, Perseus, Hercules, and Theseus to become warriors. I am fond of children and the most famous teacher in all of Greece. Kings brought their young sons to me in hope
but they would grow up to be great heroes. In my Kalon Pelon, I taught them manly sports such as how to use healing herbs and how to read the stars. All of my pupils returned home as heroes. When Hercules got into an argument with some centaurs, he shot an arrow at me. The arrow missed the other centaurs, and that's why it hit me. The arrow had hydra blood on it, so it burned, but I'm immortal, so I couldn't die. But I gave up my immortality to Prometheus to put myself out of my misery. After my death, Lord Zeus put me in the sky as a constellation. Who am I?
Lily,
One day, there was a hideous monster named Cetos in the room. She bumped into a hideous monster named Thesaurus. They found them. They had 6 children, and one of them was me. I am the oldest, son of Cepho, Uriel, Thosa, Scalia, and Latin. I was the most beautifulest ever. Athena was also beautiful too. I wanted to go to land, so I did, and I broke my family's heart. I fell in love with Poseidon. He fell for me too. Poseidon told Athena that I was the most beautiful, that was the worst thing anyone had ever done to me. So Athena got really mad at me, and she came over to me and said, "You may be beautiful on the outside, but you are hideous on the inside because you broke your family's heart. So you should be hideous on the inside and out." "Ah!" I screamed. "You turned me into a hideous monster." So I went into a cave. Someone tried to find me, and they weren't looking for me. Then they found me, and I looked at them. I turned them into stone. Then this guy, Perseus, came and cut my head off. The earth's clay and my goodness in my heart turned me into a Pegasus. I rode off into the air, and until this day, my head still lives on Athena's shield. After that, Poseidon ran away, and I had 2 kids named Pegasus and Prosor. Who am I?
Leandra.
I am Zeus's least favorite son, and I'm adored by many goddesses. Whenever I heard clashing of arms, I grinned and joined the fight, not caring who would win. Even though I was immortal, when I got wounded, I would give a cry of fear, and I would rush to Olympus, where all the gods would hurry to heal me. I would almost always have a vicious crowd following me. I'm known for being tall, handsome, and cruel. Aphrodite admired me for my looks, and she soon became my girlfriend. She was the wife of my ugly brother Hephaestus. No other gods were fond of me, least of all my half-sister Athena. My favorite bird was the vulture, and my Roman name is Mars. I had 6 children with Aphrodite. 3 of my children are well known. Number 1, Harmonia, the goddess of harmony. Number 2, Eros, commonly known as Cupid. Finally, number 3, Teres, known to have inherited my abhorrent qualities. I was also the biological father of 3 of Hercules' enemies. They were Kindness, Lycon, and Diomedes. Who am I?
Lily B.
I am the goddess of harvest and grain. I bring spring and summer. Mortals pray to the gods that I am happy so that they will have a good harvest and food. But if I wasn't happy, no harvest would grow. Then no one would have food. I am the sister of Hestia, Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. My parents are Kronos and Rhea. I have 1 daughter named Persephone. Persephone is the queen of the underworld. I also am one of 12 gods that lives on Mount Olympus. Persephone wasn't always the queen of the underworld. Once she was my daughter. We would walk for long walks. But my brother Hades saw her and thought she was beautiful and wanted to have her as his own. Then one day, while she was playing outside, he took her. She had been down there for so long, I begged Zeus to get her back. He refused. Then I asked again, and he made a deal that 6 months of the year Persephone would spend with me, because she ate 6 pomegranate seeds in the apple. And the other 6, she was queen of the underworld. That 6 months of the year I was depressed and I wouldn't eat, sleep, or drink. And that was fall and winter. But then Persephone was with me. I was so happy. Those 6 months were spring and summer. Every spring I would make sure all of the crops were growing so that everything is beautiful and she will feel welcome. My chariot was drawn by a pair of winged dragons. I also used the dragons as my guards, but they did not save Persephone from being captured. The Eleusinian mysteries were a group of people who formed rituals in secrecy. What they did is they sacrificed daughters to make me feel better and bring the harvest back. Who am I?
Nicholas H.
I am the son and killer of Titan Cronus. I am the owner of a 3-headed dog. I am the god of the underworld. My father, Cronus, had eaten me. I eventually got out and showed him no mercy. When Zeus handed out the realms, I did not wait. I gave the underworld to myself. It was a perfect place for me. I didn't have to be nice to anyone. I just had to make their lives miserable, which was no challenge. When I got down, I decided to explore. It was dark and scary, just like me. Now my goal is to make sure Cronus never sees daylight again. That man will live a long, miserable afterlife. Just when I noticed it was really lonely here, I had a great idea. I will take Persephone down here as my female companion. But by me taking Persephone here with me, made Demeter, the goddess of harvest, very sad and forget about the crops. I had to make a compromise to save the crops from dying. I fed Persephone pomegranate seeds and sent her to the surface. However, what she didn't know was that eating the seeds, she must spend 6 months with me and 6 months with Demeter. Who am I?
Anthony.
I was born in a cave by my mother Maya. Right after I was born, my mother put me in a crib and she fell asleep. Meanwhile, I was in my crib and pretended to fall asleep too. But I snuck out and looked around, and on the ground there was a tortoise. I killed it and filled it with cut reeds. I then stretched oxhide over it and then used sheep horns as a crosspiece. Then stretched 7 gut strings upon them. I had invented the first lyre. I played it for my mother and she thought it was beautiful. Finally, she put me to bed again, and I waited for her to fall asleep. Then I got up, and this time I followed the sun. I went down into the shadows where I saw cattle. These were Apollo's cattle. I led the cattle backwards so their footprints would look like they were going the opposite way. I hid Apollo's cattle near my mother's cave and headed back up. Later, Apollo came and shouted angrily, "You took my cattle, I know you did." He then brought me to Mount Olympus where I was to be judged. Zeus told me and Apollo to get along, but I started to play my lyre and Apollo wanted it badly. He is the god of music. He wanted it so badly he gave me a gold staff, flying shoes, and a helmet. Zeus then appointed me the messenger god and the god of travel. Who am I?
Katya.
The Greeks call me by my name, which you need to guess. That was a long time ago, yet I am still known. Even to this day, the pagans call me Mother Earth. The kids at the school, and perhaps you yourself, celebrate me on my holiday of April 22nd, also known as Earth Day. So clearly, I am a powerful and well-respected goddess to have stayed in people's religions, habits, beliefs, and minds this long. Let me tell you a little bit more about myself. I came from chaos, the void, or perhaps in modern days you would call it the Big Bang. My Roman equivalent is Terra. I had many husbands. My husband included Uranus, Pontus, Poseidon, Oceanus, Taurus, Zeus, Hephaestus, and Aether. With my first husband, Uranus, I bore 3 Cyclops, 300 Commanders, and 12 Titans. I know, 18 kids is a lot. Honestly, I had more than that, but I do not need to blow your minds. Uranus has tested his 6 monster children and sent them to the depths of Tartarus, the lower part of the underworld. This caused me great pain, so I sent my youngest, strongest Titan son Cronus to slay Uranus. He succeeded from a drop of Uranus' blood sprang Aphrodite, who later became the goddess of love and beauty. Cronus grew up and married Rhea, his Titan sister. They had a few children, but Cronus feared that they would slay him as he did to his father, so he swallowed them all whole as they were born. He swallowed Hades, Poseidon, Hestia, Hera, and Demeter. Perhaps some of these are here. Eventually, Rhea noticed a pattern and saved her last child, Zeus. She wrapped a stone in swaddling clothes and gave it to Cronus to swallow and save Zeus. Rhea put Zeus under my care, and together we hatched a plan to defeat Cronus. Zeus snuck a potion into Cronus' drink. It made Cronus throw up all of his children. They were all grown up in one piece just like Zeus. Zeus and his siblings fought with the Titans and eventually won with the help of my monster children. I had earlier told Zeus where they were and he had freed them. They gave him a special lightning bolt as a gift. They also gave Poseidon a trident and Hades a cap of invisibility. Although I had originally supported Zeus, he locked away most of the Titans in the underworld, so I objected and created the enormous monster Typhon to fight against him. Still, Zeus spared me because I was his grandmother and had supported him. I later attended his wedding to Hera, the queen of Olympus. All of these stories, all of these memories, I have many memories to share because I am so ancient, but clearly I don't have enough time to list them all. I am the powerful, almighty Earth. I keep this planet out of balance. Were it not for me, no one on this planet, let alone this room, would be here. My veins are the rivers, my flesh is the land, my hair is the soil beneath your feet or the roots of a tree. My breath is the wind, my muscles are the mountains, and my strength is the gravity. I am the generous earth. I wrap myself round and round so you would not fall off of me. I am your home. Have you guessed who I am? So, who am I?
Shannon B.
My parents are Zeus and Diana. We live in Mount Olympus. I am the goddess of love and beauty. I am one of the 12 gods and goddesses that live in Mount Olympus. I won a contest for being the most beautiful goddess. Here's what happened. Hera, Athena, and I all saw a mysterious golden apple that rolled near us. It read, "To the fairest." Then my father Zeus decided that immortal Paris decided who deserved the apple. Paris decided who the most beautiful one was out of the 3 of us, but we had to offer him something so he would choose us. Hera offered him power, Athena offered wisdom and fame. I offered the love of the most beautiful mortal in the world, Helen. Paris chose me, of course. When he took Helen from one of the Greek kings and to Troy, which started a war, I married Hephaestus because Zeus and Hera forced me to. I did not like him though. I cheated on him and dated Ares instead of Hephaestus. He caught Ares and I in an unbreakable chain link net, and then he dragged us to Mount Olympus to embarrass us in front of the other gods and goddesses. Poison made him take the chain link off after. Who am I?
Jordan.
I'm the fastest person in the world. I won race after race and no one can beat me. But a boy named Millennium was so clever that he beat me in a race. After reuniting with my father, King Aias, he decided that I should get married. I told him that I will only get married if a man can beat me in a race. But that is not all. If they lose, their head
shall be chopped off. Surprisingly, many men showed up the next day, but no one won, so all the heads were chopped off. Late that night, a man named Millennium had a dream about Aphrodite giving him 3 golden apples. She said, with these 3 apples, you can win the race. The next day, he showed up thinking he could beat me. Millennium threw the apples in front of me so I would stop to pick them up. Millennium touched the pole first, so he won. We got married soon after and had a wonderful son a few years later. Who am I?
Shannon H.
I'm the daughter of Zeus and Demeter. My father is the king of the gods, and I am the goddess of flowers. My mother is the goddess of the harvest, and my father is the king of the gods. Me and my mom is Zeus's 4th wife. My mom and me are best friends. We enjoy running in fields. When I am happy, flowers grow where I step. One day, my mom and I were in the field, and she went to grow some crops. Suddenly, Hades grabbed me. I screamed and fought, but he had me. We went to the underworld. I saw beautiful crystals, and Hades declared me his new queen. I missed my mom. I didn't eat or sleep, waiting for my mom to come and rescue me. Finally, my mom came. I was so glad to see her. But Hades came in and said, my beautiful flower, you made this dark place bright, but I love you, so I'll let you leave. I was so happy, but before I left, he offered me pomegranate seeds. Without thinking, I took them. My mom screamed no, but I had swallowed them. Only the dead can eat the underworld food, so my mom and Hades made a deal. I have to stay with Hades winter and fall, and my mom's spring and summer. Hades tricked me. That is why my mom kills all the crops around her. There are no flowers. I love seeing my mom have the year. Half is worth it. Half is worth it. Who am I?
Last but not least, Nicholas L.
Before I was born, my dad Cronus ate all my siblings, Hera, Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, and Hestia. When I was born, my mother Rhea knew I was going to be special, so she had to hide me behind a tree and put a rock in my blanket so she could trick my father into thinking it was me. My father Cronus ate the rock, and then one day my mother sipped some vomit potion in my father's drink and threw up all of my siblings. After that, he never ate any of us again. I knew that I and the Olympians would never be safe while my own father was in power. Once my siblings were free, I started a war with the Titans called the Titanomachy. The war raged on for 10 whole years and it involved a number of powerful creatures, gods, and goddesses. On one side, Cronus fought with the Titans, and on the other side, I fought with my siblings Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, Hera, and Hestia. This is when the Cyclops created 3 powerful weapons for us, the Olympians. These powerful weapons are my thunderbolt, Poseidon's trident, and Hades' helmet of invisibility. When the Titans finally surrendered, I imprisoned the Titans in Tartarus so they would no longer be a threat. And this is when the era of the Olympians officially began. Who am I?
Now it's time to check your answers and see how many Greek characters you guessed correctly. We will introduce the students again as their characters. Sophia. As Poseidon. Laura. As Artemis. James. As Phoenix. Ethan. As Apollo. Pauline. As Echo. Hestius. Ica as Athena. Maven as Heracles. Andrews as Pan. Haley as Hecate. Olivia as Hestia. Ali as Hera. Dylan as Chiron. Lillian as Medusa. Leandra as Ares. Lily B as Demeter. Nicholas Hamill as Hades. Anthony as Hermes. Katya as Gaia. Shannon B as Aphrodite. Jordan as Atalanta. Shannon H as Persephone. Nicholas L as Zeus. The students have made a project that brings their character to life. You can learn more about our Greek guests by visiting their tables and asking questions. When it is time to leave, we will move our projects down into the library. Please enjoy the rest of the evening and thank you for coming.